beautiful souls. So for those who don't know me, my name is Cynthia Slon, and I had experience with my entire life, even in the embryo. Today's topic is outer chaos, inner transformation, the wisdom of our cells. So the wisdom of not only what makes up every single aspect and structure from bone to blood to muscle to... Why can I speak on this? Because from very young, in the embryo, I'm a twin, and I could see my twin forming in front of me. And I had the consciousness to go, who is seeing that if I don't have eyes? So there was an inner conversation with the cellular body while it was being created. And I remember it to this day. Not only how can I be hearing if the ears aren't created yet, who am I, who's talking to me? And I was in awe of watching her bones and hands and everything come to be. And so in that time frame, of it's so okay, you didn't have to, that's very kind of you. In the time frame of that, and then being born from infancy into toddler age and beyond, the ability to not only hear the cells in my body and have a conversation with them. It was kind of like an inner voice that a child might have with their doll. I had it inwardly from the time I was... Nobody told me in the embryo, you're not supposed to be able to do that. That's wrong. All I know is love lived there, lives in here, and lives everywhere. And so from a very young age, I was able to see what I, of course, at that age seemed very natural and normal to me, but then I found out the word was auras. I was able to see chakras and auras, and they're constantly in motion. They're constantly in movement. And then I was able to look inwardly, and I'm going to backtrack all of this, and see a cell language. Now, as a toddler, I'm not going, oh, is that a cell language? It seemed so natural to me that there weren't necessarily doubts, fears, or concerns. It was just as natural as the tree I was seeing, the light body of the tree, the cells of that tree going into the earth, going through the tree and into the limbs looked like me, looked like you, looked like you, looked like you. And so I could see all of that. And then when I started communicating with my inside voice, I started receiving a response from the very things that I was focused on, whether it was a tree or a bird or animal life. When I had a question, as I grew older, when I had a question, I would receive a response. But one of the things that stood out the strongest, and I have a website and there are videos to mostly everything I'm talking about. Hi. Okay. Was when I was about 5 years old. And I was carrying all these clothes, because we had to carry our clothes into the garage and put the dirty clothes in the hamper, even at 5. And so you couldn't drop anything. I grew up in a very strict household. So I didn't even talk about what I was sharing. I mean, what I was seeing, what was being shared with me. It was just all inward. And I figured out very quickly that my inner world and what existed everywhere wasn't really being shared by others. So I believed everybody could see it, but nobody talks about it. I thought it must be something we don't talk about, but everybody sees. But that was not the case. And so I'm carrying all the clothes, 5 years old, and I opened the door of the garage and didn't even turn the light on, and standing floating above the ground, but below the ceiling, was a man, etheric body, physical, and very like almost completely physical, but floating. And as a 5-year-old, I just dropped everything. And because I had seen the totality, of course, of a whole tree and the consciousness of grass or whatever, but that was the first, and I was seeing auras and everything. That was the first time I saw cells organized in a human form. And so, of course, I didn't think that at 5. At 5, I was like, and so the thing that was amazing is that he was in black and white, no color, and he saw me. I looked up at him, and he looked down at me, and our eyes met. He saw me looking at him, and I saw him seeing me, and we both screamed at the same time. And it was such an audible scream, I could hear it. And I know he could hear me. And being 5 years old and growing up in the environment that I did, my response was, sorry, I'm sorry, didn't want to bother you. And then I just backed out of the garage, and I closed the door, and then I stood against the door, 5 years old, and I thought, I guess we all know about the black and white man that lives in the garage, but we don't talk about it. Okay, and so then I went on my way and never saw him again. But shortly after that, my father was holding one of his family meetings, and we all had to come in and sit down, and I was still 5, and I'm sitting down, and I'm looking down, singing a song to myself, because you're 5 and you're not really listening to what's being shared. And I remember looking up and going, and I could see, right after the guy in the garage, not too long after, I could see my father's aura, but I could see the cells spinning, moving through each other, multiplying, communicating, and then communicating with the space. And all of a sudden, space was no longer space. Space is not space. Mm-hmm. The space you're sitting in is alive. It has breath, and it has cellular construction. And so all of a sudden there was no space, but the space was beautiful. And as he moved his arms through the space, he really thought I was paying attention. I didn't hear a word he said. So as he moved his arms through the space, the energy would move around him and through him, and everything was changing. And then I looked to the plants in the room, and they were all illuminated. And then when they saw me seeing them, the plants in their true form, all of their light bodies turned towards me, and these rays of light went straight to me. And I was like, internally like, wow. So I'm looking at all of this, and I'm experiencing it as an extension of me, because I still had not yet, well, never really, but I still had not separated myself from that world. In fact, that was real and more true and something I could count on than the humanity around me. And so there really wasn't any communication about this with my twin or anything. Turns out my twin and my father, et cetera, were atheists, so it was good that there was no conversation about it. And so what ended up happening is I communicated with my inside voice, with my soul voice, with everything around me. And what I heard from my spirit guides, who I got introduced to, 3 of them, was, we're going to use your physical environment to teach you how to be in the world. You're here for a very different reason, and your environment and your life is going to teach you how and what and when to exist, to sit quietly, so as an example, I would be in my room, and my spirit guides always speaking through my heart to my ears, not through my head to my heart, the other way around. They would say, go in the living room, go near your father, don't go to him. So I would do that and quietly stand there, and then they would say, do you see this, this, and this, and the placement of this, this, and this? And I would say, but internally. And they would say, okay, that's what his aura looks like when he's contemplating this or that, or et cetera. Like, you see that point there? He's thinking of another place. When he was thinking of another place, the energy, the cellular energy and the vibrational frequency connected to that place. That place knew he was connecting to it and responded. We are so interconnected. We are so much a part of the language and the dialogue and of everything that we see and we exist with and we participate with and within. Health or illness, and I'm going to get into that. So, my spirit guide said, do you see that he's thinking of that place? Do you see what happens when he thinks of it? And I was like, and I'm just taking it in. And then they said, okay, now leave the room because his mood's going to change. And so do you see what happened to his aura? So even when his thoughts changed, his moods changed, etc., it was all about the inner world that changed the outer view energetically, the frequency, the vibration. It wasn't about his shifting in his seat. It was about his shifting within himself. This is what it looks like. So I started to learn that it wasn't just him, but then I started looking at other people and other things and animals and communicating with plant life, etc., and talking to everything, but you never heard a sound out of me. I was just very connected to everything. So today's talk is Outer Chaos, Inner Transformation. So it's very timely. There is cellular consciousness and awareness within your cellular body. When I tell you that your body is just a small part of you and that everything else beyond you also includes you, that's something for you to know that you can feel empowered within, and this is how and why. Everything in the universe is moving constantly. Your blood's moving, your cells are moving, the vibration internally, the oxygen's moving, your thoughts are moving things, etc. But also your voice. When you talk, your vocal cords vibrate. Your vocal cords vibrate when you're angry and you talk, and it lowers the vibration. And when you're happy and you're joyful, and it raises the vibration. But if you think about it, you are a divine instrument in the universe that is at all times creating sound, movement, and whatever you want to experience. And I say that to you because not only did I experience that, but there is a sacred language within the walls of your cells, and they hold inner peace. So if you take the construct of your body, your cells, it seems we only pay a lot of attention to our cells when our cells scream at us through pain, discomfort, through agitation, through imbalance, through inflammation. That's when all of a sudden we pay attention to our cells. However, our cells, you have a built-in program, okay? Think of it as a computer, think of it as sacred, think of it as the divine. Think of it in any way that you can relate to, because what matters is not what I say to you, it matters that you relate to yourself and leave here with a greater understanding about you. Make it your own. If it doesn't resonate, move on to the next sentence, because your cells have their own regulating system. So your cells can, apart from you, experience peace, well-being, regrowth, revolution, meaning that internally, if there is a part of your body that is not doing well, there is a call from the white blood cells to go there and do something about it. So while we're all having these external experiences, your cells are programmed to have their own inner experience and assist you. But they're not going to be wiped out or stop having their divine experience if you don't acknowledge them. You're only going to hear from your cells if you don't acknowledge that, let's say, the divinity dwells within you. You're only going to hear from them if there's huge imbalance going on, like illness, inflammation, etc. Then you're going to hear from them and you're going to take notice, okay? But your cells are very much a part of not only who you are, but your ability to call on your cells for peace, for calm, for regeneration, for healing, for clarity, whatever, for past life, bring in this past life, for present life, whatever it is, it's quite endless. It's quite endless. And so how do you access your cells? How do you communicate with your cells? How do you receive what it is you're asking for? You have to be willing to accept that which you are calling on. So don't take my word for it, but know that your worthiness matters. If you're like, I want to be whole and complete and well, but I don't deserve it. You might not think that matters. Your cells are definitely paying attention. So they go, oh, okay, we'll just give her this much. So the reason why it's so beautiful that we have cells that are conscious, awake, aware, and alive is that we can heal, we can restore, and we can regenerate. However, to the level that we can do it is dependent upon your consciousness and your willingness to know that not only are you worthy, but that you give yourself permission, even if it's just in that moment, to say, I am worthy and I allow myself to receive. And then you put in the call to your cells. And I ask for, I'm willing to receive, calibration, balance, etc. By the way, I don't just do this for myself, I do this for clients. And they heal from all kinds of things. Calibrations, restoring the cells, regenerating them, clearing them, putting back cell energy and matter that renews life force in that area, whatever area had become distorted or had been turned down. And so this is a conversation, it's an inner conversation, but it's one worth having. So, I wrote a book, which is over there, called, well, I think this is more of a pamphlet, but Point of Light. And why? Because when I first did a healing on myself and on a friend, when I went to look, so I don't look with these eyes, I look with my third eye, but that's when you ask to see or to be shown, if you're unwillingness to do so, your energy body and your vibrational frequency will shift and align and you will be shown. And I saw light coming from all the cells. There was a point of light, that's why the book's called Point of Light, in all the cells. And then when I went in deeper to the cell, there was a consciousness, there was an awareness that I was there looking at the cell, and the cell was aware of the exchange, and I was blown away. I was blown away, and a lot of that experience and what happened after is in this book and on videos, etc. What I'm here to tell you is that today is not about, hey, guess what? There's no space around you, feel it. No, that's not about today. That's another talk. Today is about what happens when you get triggered. What happens when you get triggered by people around you? What happens when you get triggered by social events, worldly events? What happens when you get triggered? Do your cells follow what you get triggered by? No, they don't. They don't. And why is that? Your mental and emotional body can be super triggered, and when it is, your cellular body releases help. Your cells do not vibrate at the level of your emotional body, because if they did, from the age of 1 to whatever age you are now, it would be an earthquake to them. They would not be able to hold the construct of the heart, the liver, the stomach. If, oh no, she's on another roll, we're going to lose it. No. The cells are a part of each other. They have infinite wisdom. They have an ability to communicate with each other, and they also have the ability to send you what you need if you're open to receiving it. So when you get triggered by outer experiences, what ends up happening is, if you are willing to focus on your cellular body's experience of you being triggered, it means between the triggering and the response, there's a space, even if it's a second. I call it the divine space. And there, in the divine space, are your cells and their infinite wisdom. And you have a moment of choice to react or to choose to say, if I react, it's not going to help me, or if I react, whatever your choice is about whatever is triggering you. But your cells will always send to you the endorphins, the good feeling, peace feeling. So I often say to myself and to my clients, your cells are there for you, but themselves as well. They're not abandoning their experience to have an experience of you. They are having their own experience and assisting you. Why? Because then they can keep having the experience. But they have their own driver, so to speak, and you think you're in the driver's seat, and you are, but your cells have infinite wisdom from your first life and before that, all the way through this life and beyond it. Your cells do not relate to time. I'm here to tell you, your cells are not like, oh, we're this age and it's time. No. There's a belief, strong belief, that in the body, the cells are relating to age and time, etc. No, they're not. What are they relating to? They're actually relating to movement, flow, oxygen, and breath. Why is it so important for movement to happen? Not just for our external bodies, but internally, we align with the cells and inform their consciousness. We're there with you. Now, let's say you can't move that much. You don't have to move. I was working with a client in Europe the other day. She couldn't move. I said, that's okay. Let's close your eyes and let's move your entire body from head to toe with your cells. Let's make your cells a Zumba class. Let's have them start moving and move that energy through. And she did it all the way to her feet and back around, and all the way to her feet and back around. She was flushed and she felt oxygenated, and she never moved a finger. And that's how your cells can assist you. If you're having a stomach ache, talk to your cells. It's not, what I'm saying to you is the path between what you want to experience and where you are is not, well, in my opinion, because I've lived it and I teach it and I offer it, it's not, okay, I have to take this step, and then I have to do this, and then I have to wave a white flag, and then I have to ask, and then it's a direct communication. It's direct. And so there is a direct availability. The cells are not going, no, we're not listening. The cells are going, yes, wait a second. And so I say to everybody, get in alignment with your cells. Become one body of work. There's oneness within you. There's the movement of blood, oxygen, bone, etc. And the cells are in movement as well. Get in on the conversation. But do so from a place of, let me just say, authenticity is the strongest power in the universe. There was a study done where they took electrodes and they connected them to different people, and when a person was really happy, their computer system showed a spark of light, just this huge spark of light. And when the person was sad or upset, that spark diminished greatly. The only other energy and emotion that literally went beyond the screen of light was authenticity. And it's not just, yes, it's so important between you and other people, but between you and being authentic all the way deep down with your desire, and get your father's voice out of there, your mother's voice, your sister's voice, your family's voice, your friend's voice, your brother's voice. Get all the other voices out of there and connect with you want to call it your divine voice, your higher self voice, the voice you were born with and connected to before other people's voices started taking yours away. And so connect with that inner voice. I'm sorry to tell you, but I celebrate telling you, it's just that easy. But if it's not authentic and you're like, I'm just going to try it out. I'm just going to pretend. I'm going to tell my back, hey, there was this chick at the thing the other day, and she was saying that this works. And so I ask you to stop hurting. Okay, no. Then you're going to go, oh, it doesn't work. No, what's not working is your trust in your cellular body, and that it's connected to who you are as a universal being, and it's listening, but it can also feel your authenticity or not, that huge spark of light, or a lack of trust that goes, I'm going to give it this much. I'm not telling you to trust in another person or even me. I'm telling you, trust in the cells of your body. Why? Because you're here, you're standing, you're sitting, you're walking, you're breathing. There's already an agreement between you and your cells. But if you want to create an even better agreement, you want to communicate with your cells from a place of authenticity. It's very, very important. Do you know that the only species on the face of the earth that has forgotten it is worthy is humanity? And just look around, you will see that in many different ways, and in your own family unit. It's the only species that has forgotten it is worthy and why it is here, as part of a collective. As part of a collective, just like your cells. If you have a rogue cell that's like, I am everything and you are all less than me, your body's going to attack that cell and take it down. And it's going to see it as a cell that is creating dis-ease, a cell that's creating imbalance. It's going to see it as a cell that's wanting to separate, and there's no separation going on. Bone, body, everything, externally as well. And so I say to you that your cells are listening and they're paying attention, but also your cells are very in tune and connected to and plugged in to your past lives, to what matters to you in this life and why. To your guides, to your spiritual counsel, to who you are as a walking, living library. Each and every one of you is a walking, living library with access to infinite amount of information that's either about you, humanity. There's nothing you can't do. There's stuff you're not going to want to do, but there's nothing you can't do. There's really nothing you can't do. But most importantly for yourselves is to heal and to represent yourselves as falling deeply and madly into love with yourselves, because that's how much they love you. Your cells cannot, oh, I'm having a bad day, I don't like her today. Your cells will not only not thrive, but they will starve, lose oxygen. They will suffer if they present you with an aspect that is lacking. If you align your focus, so I talked about worthiness, I talked about trust, and now I'm going to talk about focus, because all of this matters to your cells. Your cells are in constant motion, they're constantly communicating with each other, but they're also communicating with your soul contract in this lifetime. This very lifetime. They're communicating with, oh, look, she wanted to do this, this, and 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 this. Why does that matter? Because your cells love you so much that I'm telling you, there's not a word I'm sharing with you today that I have not first embodied and lived myself, because I wouldn't share it unless, if it's real for one human, it's available to all. Your cells love you and each other so much that if you feel lost, you feel like you're depressed, you're feeling chaotic, the outer experience of trauma is telling you to go within. It's not telling you, fix the outer trauma, then feel peaceful. If there is a contrast in this duality, it is. If there is external chaos, where do I go? What do? I go within. I go within where there is peace to be found. I don't try and force the external to become something for me. I go within and I represent the opposite. And I create my environment. How do you create your environment? You go within, you connect with your cells, you focus your energy on I am peace, I choose peace, I align with my cells that are in peace, and then I expand it into my home, and then I expand it beyond my walls, and I expand it through my yard, and you expand it as far as you want to. But you expand it, and energetically, and the vibration of the spoken word, the intention, the trust, and the focus, you start creating that. You start creating that for yourself first. You cannot offer another person what you have not lived yourself yet. You can't. You can desire that, but if you haven't lived it yet, you're offering them hope, which is not a bad thing, but you're also offering them lack, because you're like, I hope that's true. You have to embody it for yourself first before you can share it with another and say, this is completely and totally true. So what I'm saying to you is, it can be a master teacher, and I've met many. I'm very blessed. Come and stand right in front of you and say, you are a chosen one. Okay? Let's just have that visual for a moment. You are a chosen one. Immediately in our humanity, some people are going to go, yay, and jump for joy and say, I'm the chosen one. And other people are going to go, oh, the responsibility. And other people are going to, whatever your response is going to be. But I'm pointing that out to you for one reason only. Even if a master from times past or now comes to you and says, you are a chosen one, your inner response defines whether you will accept that or not. So you have this outer experience that's offering you what you maybe wanted to hear your whole life. You are the chosen one, and still your inner experience is going, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Or yay, or wait, what does that mean, etc. So my point being, can we turn the air up? Yeah. Thank you. My point being that your inner world, the consciousness of, you have trillions of cells. Can you imagine there's one of you, but there's trillions of cells in your body, all loving you, working on behalf of you and themselves, and helping you to go to find home within. Not home, okay, I'm leaving my body and going home. No, home within. And so to call upon the trillions of cells and to literally, if you're going to do a meditation, which I do every day, several times a day, the meditation can be, in addition to anything else, it can be a walking meditation, it can be a dancing meditation, it can be just a meditation of your choice, but let it be where you are talking to the voices within you that are talking to each other about how much they love you and how great you are, and start allowing yourself quietly or share it out loud to agree with them. To agree with them. Start saying, I am love. Because if you don't choose love, often your energy will shift to fear. Why? So you can find your way back home to love again. So I would say the major energies in the duality of physicality are love and fear. And to me, fear is false energy appearing real. So, and love is life offering valuable experiences. Some bumper stickers for you. But your inner world is so much bigger and connected to your external world, but who literally are making the decisions are your cells, not your emotional body. Your emotional body aren't making decisions. Your mental body is not making the decisions. A lot of people, when I say that, they go, wait a second, I know myself through my mental body. Your mental body is set up to protect you, to warn you, to help you contemplate things, but the wisdom that you are seeking dwells within your cellular body. The trillions of cells that have repaired a broken bone, that have, well, I'll speak for myself, that have healed itself of cancer, that had 4 death experiences and came back, that had all these experiences that most people wouldn't survive, that I can only speak for myself and say, it was because my cells were like, no, we're not done yet. And we're going to heal it. I've healed broken bones. I've healed all kinds of things. And my point isn't, I can do what you can't. No, my point is, you can do it too if you trust, communicate, and love yourself back to wholeness. It seems so simple, but we're all wired to focus on the reasons why we're not good enough, why we shouldn't love ourselves, and we haven't healed this, and this with that person. So we walk around in our humanity carrying interruptions to the divinity of who we are. But our cells are not interested in that interruption at all. No, your cells, the trillions of cells in your body, are aware of why and what they are and why they're there, and they're not participating in a false dialogue. They're participating in a real, true dialogue. And that is the true dialogue about you. And again, not taking my word for it, but allowing yourself to contemplate it and make it your own. I am telling you today that you are a vibrational frequency. You are a harmonic convergence. You are a divine instrument in the orchestra of life. And whether you see yourself that way or not, or whether other people see you that way or not, your cells know it, nature knows it, most animals know it, and babies know it. And if you're lucky, you get other people who know it and see it. But it doesn't matter if an entire orchestra enters your house and goes, "Do you know who you are?" Unless you feel comfortable saying, "I accept that. I accept." Most people say, "I accept there's a part of me like that," and then everything else is out of balance. I say to you, shift that around. I accept that I am wholeness and complete and divine and put together. God made this body exactly and perfectly the way it should be. And then there's a tiny part of me that, of your humanity, that might think, and then there's this part that I still need to work on. I say to you that we are in an accelerated time. And that acceleration means you are meant to love all parts of you. Not go, "I love the part of me that I think looks good, sounds good, that this person loves, etc., and I don't like these parts of me." I'm inviting you to take all parts of you in as part of a harmonic convergence, as part of your cells experiencing, and by the way, what a party it'll be when your cells go, "She's on board, she's got it." All of a sudden your nails get really strong, your hair starts growing, things start happening and around you too in your life, and you're like, wow, and your inner wisdom is going, "It could have always been like that." And so now is the opportunity in this acceleration for you to experience the true nature of who you are. You are trillions of cells put together perfectly, the ability to see, to hear, to breathe. I mean, the magnificence of a human body, and then to put a consciousness aware of itself in there, applause for that. I mean, it's incredible. I spoke about that. Okay, so manifestation. So for you to manifest good health, for you to manifest a relationship, for you to manifest friendship, for you to manifest whatever you desire, she's turning it down now. Thank you. Is also an inside job. So many times we think of our mental body and we go, "I want to do this in life, so I'll go pick up the bricks and I'll start creating it." You are a vibrational frequency. Whatever your vision is of what you want to manifest, you are going to connect to. If you don't visualize that and you visualize the hard work to get there, you're going to lower your vibration and connect with the difficulty of it. And you're going to create separation in the time between manifesting it and having it. So the key to manifestation, I am saying to you, you are creator creating. Shift that, change that in your mind, whatever way you need to for it to be okay for you or to make sense to you. But for you to manifest whatever it is that you desire in this world for you, for others, etc., the key is it's an inside job. So you go within and you visualize the end result. You visualize it already happening. Why? Because then energetically you connect your life and your vision with the vision you want, and you're on the same page and you're creating together, instead of visualizing what you want and then visualizing all the problems that it'll take through your mind to have that happen. And then what do you create? Separation. You create a delay, and then the mind starts going, "See, I told you so. See, look, it's happening." So going through your inner body and choosing your inner voice and focusing on the outcome of your choice and having a commitment and authenticity all the way through to visualize it, say yes to it. You're going to be breathing life into it, and you're not going to create a disconnect. Your cells are not only aware of you, but they're aware of the consciousness of where you're sitting right now. They're aware of the consciousness of where you're going, where you came from, what you're going to do, the worries, etc. So I'm telling you, there's an intelligence of compassion, endless compassion. You can call it the Sacred Heart, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Your cells are built in that way. So if you are not having compassion for yourself and your vision, if you start finding yourself leaving that vision and creating space, don't beat yourself up. You lower your vibration even more. Have compassion for yourself, bring yourself back up, and connect with that vision. You are worthy. You are so worthy. So you can ask to be calibrated. What I love about this is I know the mind's going, well, now wait a second. What do you mean calibrate? And what do you mean I don't have a part to do in it? Let me tell you how you do it. No, that's wrong, etc. Your cells know how to calibrate themselves. They know how to clear themselves. They know how to heal themselves. They know how to heal a body part. They know how to discard something, etc. Your cells are in there doing that for you at all times, okay? And I think sometimes when it's so easy, people go, I don't believe it, it's too easy. But I will say to you, I've lived it and I've experienced it in ways that I didn't think was possible, in ways that I found out it was possible because I allowed myself not only to have self-worth, but to go there and have that dialogue, or actually to take part in that dialogue. I have to say to you, that dialogue's loving. For your liver, your gallbladder, your lungs, your blood, your bones, everything to coexist and mingle and work together, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of respect. There's a lot of namaste. There's a lot of, what do you need? What, you need this, you need that. The only part of our humanity that's not involved in that conversation is the head. The head goes, that's not happening because I'm talking, the head's saying. No, that whole conversation's happening. Become a part of that beautiful conversation. I will say that part of what I feel is happening in the external world is a wake-up. It's a wake-up call. And it's a wake-up call for each and every one of us to do what? Yes, to cheer and speak your truth and support whatever you want, but more importantly, it's a wake-up call to say, I am a sacred being. I am worthy. I was put here, and I have forgotten that I was put here as a sacred being. I was put here as a being already whole and complete. I took all the broken pieces of everybody else, and I only left this much left. So what ended up happening was an unconsciousness of worthiness grew and grew and grew and grew, and disconnect grew and grew and grew, and created not only a break in communication, but a physical break in factions of people in humanity, where the power source became external. So I have to have control externally now because the inner connection broke off, not only between you and you, but between you and the other person. So a lack of trust, a lack of hope, a lack of this, a lack of that became, your mind is always going to show you the way to survival, and the mind will say, but you can control this out here because the inside's all scrambled. And so what's happened is fear took over, and then what happens follows fear is a need to control, to no longer be in fear. And so there's these big pockets of past life beings, past lives that you've had, past lives that others have had, that are just on repeat again. So my point to you is to heal yourself, to heal a fractured consciousness, to heal a fractured community or world, you have to start with yourself. You can start with somebody else, but if you don't start with yourself, then you represent the fracture while you're trying to heal somebody else. you have to start with yourself. Then you represent the non-fracture, you represent the love, and you represent the wholeness and respect. And you're able then to really feel like this is real and possible. Like I said, I'm speaking to you today from a place of my reality, my experience. I work with people all over the world, Zoom, telephone, in whatever capacity they need, to help them reconnect to themselves, cellularly, verbally, mentally, emotionally, etc. And most of the problems with a health issue or a mental issue or emotional issue is a long time ago, a disconnect that happened within you due to somebody's impact or trauma, and then it just kept growing. And when that starts happening, what I find with disease, by the way, I was told that I was going to die of cancer, and then said, okay. I said, okay. I'm going to die of cancer, okay. And so the lady said, we're going to have to cut you from here to here and just take it out. It's huge. It goes from here. It's like a box, cancer. And I said, okay, when is the surgery? And she said, on this date. And I said, okay. And then I went home. And I didn't see a box, she was exaggerating, but I saw that there was a disconnect there. And I did my work and did my work and did my work and did my work. The day of the surgery came, I had the gown on, and I said to her, please, can you do an ultrasound? Just really quick. She goes, we have the surgery prepped. I go, just really quick, just a quick, like, ultrasound, please. And she goes, she was really excited. I think I was her first surgery. And she... She goes, okay. And so I laid on the table, and she said to her, whoever was working with her, do an ultrasound on her really quick. So the woman goes, what am I looking for? There's nothing here. And I go, okay, thank you. And she came running, and she goes, get on the table. And I looked at her, I go, what? And she goes, give me that. And she was like, pushing and looking, and I'm like, you can push as strong as you want, you're not going to find it. And she goes, there's nothing here. And she looked at me like, what did you do? And so I said to her, she goes, well, I want to do exploratory surgery. And I go, do that on somebody else. And then I left. That was a very long time ago. But what's wrong? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So I thought you were pointing to this. So my point is not, look at me, that's possible for anyone and everybody and everything. What did I do? I went within and I had a conversation. I went within and I said, how old are you? Where do you come from? Where were you first distorted? Okay, and I did it with love, not fear. So I had to consciously choose love, etc. And then the cells that were all distorted, because see, we think we're the only things that are real, but our inner body is very real. And the inner body, when it saw that I was communicating and from a place of love, it was like, oh, you're going to help? Yes, I am. So a lot of that came into point of light, and the healing that I didn't even know was very real, very real. We're told to exercise is the key to good health, to move. And I say to you that I agree with that to a certain extent. But what I will say to you is if you can't move the external, make sure every day, once a day, to move the internal. How? I send love through you. I send light through you. I send gratitude through you. I send not only hope, but knowing that I am whole and complete and worthy. Whatever it is that you need, send it through your cells more than once a day, and watch within a week your body completely restore itself, because you are not only on board now, but your body has quickened. Your body has quickened because you have joined it. It has quickened the process, and it has moved into a place of wholeness and completeness. So your cells are alive. They are not your adversaries. I don't know who would think your cells are your adversaries unless you're ill. And if you're ill, your cells are trying to get your attention because they love you, not because they want to hurt you. Your cells are an environment that you exist in and that continues beyond you. It continues into Mother Nature, I heal animals, I work with animals as well, etc. So they have a voice, they have a choice. They remind me of me when I was a child, didn't say a word because they look at me and they have a lot to say, but they don't move their mouth. And so constant inner movement is key. Send love through there to move whatever is you feel stuck. And if there was going to be any adversary in your life, I do not see it this way. I see it as a teacher and a gift, but it's fear. It's fear, because fear creates separation, creates false dialogue, and creates a disconnect from you and your cellular body. It creates a lot of things. And I'm here to tell you too that with that fear, you change the way you live. You go from I am pure love to I'm fear. And so you are here to express the expanded version of you, not the contracted version of you. And you're here today to hear about the fact that any distortion or any imbalance in your life, let's say it's in a relationship, let's say somebody doesn't like you, doesn't hear you, doesn't talk to you, etc. First, I'll say to you, if you notice all of that from somebody in your life, how much of that focuses on you? Really look at yourself. If you're so aware of what somebody else is feeling, turn it around and say, what am I feeling? And how do I treat myself in relationship to this person? Because there's likelihood a part of you that wants that person to join the party. Let's say you're in a great mood and you have fun and you love to have a good time, and this person is just a downer. You need to also look at yourself and say, do I love myself? Do I appreciate myself? Do I know that I'm worthy? Am I authentic with my inner dialogue? Is my voice even getting heard, or is that the voice of my past coming through? Because it matters. It matters. It matters in the total, complete quality of life for you. And right now, if you're alive in this century, right now in the world, you are being asked to return to love. You are being asked to heal. You don't even have to necessarily know how, in the sense that you're like, oh, this vibration heals, etc. I will say there's a solfeggio frequency, you can find it online, is a chart that it's SOLFEGGIO, but this is on video, so you can write it down. But it is a chart about the frequency of the hertz in each chakra. So the frequency of your crown chakra or your third eye in relationship to your spirituality is like 9, 6, 3 or 4, I believe. So I did an experiment for a day. I thought, I'm going to walk around saying, I am 963 hertz. I'm 963 hertz. And so I went from like here to here, and then I was like, oh God, I can't walk. I have to lower my frequency because now I'm at such a high place that my muscles are like, this is great. This is great. And I'm like, wait, this is not what I'm looking for. So if you want to, if you resonate with like a chart and a certain vibrational frequency that represents something to you, like say it to yourself. If somebody goes, hey, 963 hertz, HZ, is how you reach your higher self. Don't take somebody else's word for it. Go within to the infinite wisdom of your temple, the walls of your temple, to see, is that true? Does it feel like that to me? You matter, your voice matters, and what you choose to do matters. Your ability in this lifetime, at this juncture and point of your life, is for you to remember who you are, all of you, instead of just a part of you. You are pure wholeness, love, light. You are worthy. You are magnificent. Let's no longer be the only species that has forgotten why we are here and that we are worthy. And so choosing love instead of fear is, I don't say to you like, hey, you feel fear, just go, I choose love. I'm not at that level. I'm saying, meaning I'm not telling you to ignore yourself because that's worse. I'm telling you to dialogue internally with that fear. Where's that fear in my body? Oh, it's not in my body. Where is it in my psyche? Oh, there it is. What's it connected to? Oh, it goes all the way back to my childhood. Oh, and so have that dialogue with yourself. Allow your cells to communicate with you, to respond, and for you to be present for that conversation, because it absolutely matters. And it's not too late. It's not too late in any way, shape, or form. You just don't want to repeat what you have already experienced. You want to move into a place of wholeness and a wellness of being. So, again, I'll put my cards out. I have a website, I have videos on there, I have books, I have another book coming out, etc. But basically, it's about you trusting yourself, and that you listening to your own cellular body is enough for you to change and for you to feel inspired and hope. If you're in a depressed state, if you're in an anxiety state, your cells know it. So go within, close your eyes. I authentically receive where my cells are out of depression and anxiety and where they are thriving. I want to feel part of that thriving. Your cells go, oh, here you go. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. And that one's very good. And so movement in your external world, good. Movement in your inner world, even better. And I will say to you that your guides, your loved ones from the other side, your hall of records, your soul contracts, etc., all of that is accessible to you and by you when you go within. Don't take my word for it. Go within and go, hey, what I want to hear from so-and-so. Often we go to our mind and we go, I want to hear from my loved one who's passed over. Where are they? Oh, never mind, they're not here. But if they're standing right here, and your inner world will show you that, where your mental world will block it. Because your mental body only goes to a certain aspect, and then your inner world and your frequency goes beyond that. So I'm going to pause for a moment and find out if you guys have any questions. You don't have to have any. Yes?
So when you do this cleanse or this activation, does it always need to go from up to down, or can it go?
It can go from side to side, up to down, crisscross. Yeah, absolutely. But you have to tune into, wow, from the ground up, that felt great. From the head down, not so good. Okay, from the ground up for now. Now, will that change? Yes. It'll change daily, because if you needed to purify or cleanse from the ground up, and you did, the next day you go to do it, you're like, oh, well, what's going on? Oh, let me try to cleanse here, to cleanse wherever. Because your body's your cells are paying attention and your body's responding. Yes, good. Any other questions? It can be about anything. I don't cook though, so not that.
I just had a question,
Yeah.
because I remember you saying in this session, the point of light is activated, and then it moves to like our higher self, to our soul family, and then it comes back to itself. Could you just talk about
So
that?
there's where you are, there's your higher self, and then your soul family, etc. And so the point of light is a light frequency that moves through all of it. And like it moves all the way to the highest aspect of you, and then it arcs and it comes back around. So it exists in your aura, it exists in your cells, it exists. Why? Because it's communicating. So that light is a communicator, and it's communicating everywhere. And it sends messages from your higher self to the body, from this to that, etc. So, yeah.
So can you say a little about a session, or
Yeah.
how people, how do they work with you, or how do you work with them and themselves?
Yes. Thank you for that question. So about a session, how does it work and what do I offer, etc. I offer everything from readings with your loved ones on the other side to healings with point of light. The healings can be silent, where I leave my body and I go into your cells. That's what I do, etherically, energetically, in the frequency of it. So my eyes are closed, and your cells go, oh, hi. And I'm like, hi. And there's no forcing anything. It's a dialogue. It's very love-based. And and there are some in here who have had sessions, point of light sessions. And it's a dialogue between your trillions of cells and your higher self, your counsel, and myself. And so it's a dialogue that some want to hear out loud, which is up to them, and so they hear it out loud, the dialogue or my part of the dialogue. I don't represent all characters, just my part. And I usually start at the feet and at the head, and we do everything, we meaning it's not done by me, it's done by the cellular body, by the guides, by the loved ones, by your higher self, everything. And it's done by calibration, clearing, restoring, removing. What do I mean? If there's a cluster of cells that are no longer working and they're just dormant, they're going to be cleared energetically, and a new set of energy and cells are going to be restored there. It's kind of like the ability for us to put seed in the ground and for us to wait for it to grow. There's no time in the cell body. So when there's frequency and vibration, it's movement. It's creating some form of life. And so when I get to a point in the person's body where the cells have to be removed, and I don't make that determination, I ask the cell itself, are you done? And the cell will say, move me, or I'm done. Then new light comes in relationship to the person's higher self and contract, and it immediately becomes a cell. So, and I don't put that light there. It's not like I have a light and I'm putting it in. It's that the lines of light that run the trillions of cells are able to, once you remove the energy and the frequency of something that's not moving, and you allow the space for something to start moving, it happens. It's like if you take two batteries on the side of a water cup and you hold one battery on one side and one on the other, and there's water in the cup, it starts to move and it funnels, because there's not only the space for that, but the energy of that creates a reaction. So it starts at the feet, it goes all the way to the head, and there's just so much going on because the cells are participating in the clearing, the balancing, and the restoration of cells. Yeah.
So you mentioned that there's people that have had sessions with you.
Uh-huh.
Is that something that someone can speak of in terms of what shifted for them, or what's, like, it would be like living testimonials?
Oh, hey, Belle. I can also talk to you personally.
Yeah.
I just had a session recently. I've been going through a lot of trauma with the biological father that came back into my life after 30 years, and my session was really profound and powerful, and I asked Cynthia to speak out loud because I wanted to record it. So, and I've re-listened, I've taken notes, and that's the way I work. My mom's also had a session. She had it in silence, and she could feel the energy a lot more probably than I was feeling, because I was absorbing and I was also feeling. And afterwards, I just went out and sat in the garden. My heart felt like so open. It just felt, I just felt so connected, and really, it was just a really beautiful experience. I also had a lot of pain in my shoulders, like chronic. I haven't had any pain since my session, which was 3 weeks ago. I am going to have another one because just incidents of some betrayals and trauma in my family that came. So I want to get that out of my bodies. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I also can say my sister had one over the internet through Zoom, and she had a profound experience through the computer. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a very long time.
Thank you.
So for seven years ago, I think it was, the first time I had Point of Light with Cynthia, I didn't know what it was. I was pretty innocent. And I said, well, I've had a broken bone in my tailbone for several years, having to sit on a pillow. Well, the cells decided to heal it.
Mm.
And I am not sitting on pillows ever since. But I do remember that as the best example I can give to anyone.
Yeah, thank you. So there's a lot of different, whatever resonates with where you're at, if you want to hear it out loud, if you want to just feel it, if you want to, sometimes I say to people, give it a week. You might not feel anything for a week. But usually I hear within 24 hours that what they want to focus on, because you, as you said, you become part of the process. Yeah. So the pain she had on her shoulders is gone. Is that because I took it and I have pain now? No. It's because what I found in her shoulders and the cells no longer served her. So it was an energy that was in the way. Get it out of the way, put the energy of life force in there, and it starts going. It starts going. And what I love about it is it's so authentic and truthful because it doesn't need to be convinced. When I do the sessions, it's outside of time and it's very fast because the cells are outside of time and they just receive and it just goes and goes. And I do it for myself and with myself every day. Mm-hmm. Any questions before we?
Well, I just had this kind of big, because I have a framework of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual body. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about the cells, this is the physical body.
No.
No, that's what I'm...
Yeah, I'm so glad. So I think you all heard her, but it's about, does the cell just exist in the physical body? No, the cells are so aware of the spiritual, the etheric, the vibrational, because why? Because the cell needs to vibrate. The cell needs, just like you and your humanity need all of that, or have all of that, your cells are, they don't need that, but they are participating in all of the universe. Your cells are aware of everything. So they're aware of all your bodies because they're communicating with all your bodies. If they didn't communicate with all your bodies, there would be a part of your body, spiritual or otherwise, that would be cut off. Where the cells exist, there's nothing cut off. Everything is affecting and communicating at all times. At all times. So the cells have the infinite wisdom to be etheric, to be vibrational, to attend to the physical, to attend to the non-physical. It's a requirement for them to thrive. Mm-hmm.
So it's consciousness, divine consciousness.
It's divine consciousness in the cell communicating at all times. And it is so divine, so beautiful. It's extraordinary. It really is. And you know what? I have to tell you, only because I've experienced it, and most recently because of the bees and the flies and the bugs and stuff outside. Mm-hmm. I'm walking today in the backyard and I'm hearing bzz, 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 and I thought, wow, there must be flowers, whatever. No, I was walking, they were flying behind me, and I'm like, no, wait. I said, oh, okay, so I talk to I'm the person who cries when a fly gets out the door. That's just me. I'm the person that when a leaf shows up and I thought the plant was dying, I cry. That's just me. And I love who I am, and how I am. And so I turned and I looked at the bees and they were like, right here. I was like, okay, you guys are talking all at the same time. One of you guys buzz, the others listen. And so they told me one of our most important bees, one of our elders, is stuck in your home. And I went, what? And so I said, okay, now I'm not saying this, I'm saying this out loud to you guys, but I wasn't saying it out loud in my yard. I was telepathically communicating with them. So I said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to help it out. Don't kill it, they said. I'm not going to, I promise. promise. So I go in, I close the slider door. They're all on the outside of the slider, like that. So I go into the house and I'm like, make a noise. I think you're in my kitchen, but make it. And it had been there. And so it was like, bzz, bzz, and I was like, oh no, not okay. So I go running. I live alone, so I can do this. So I go running. Well, I have dogs, so they were following me. So I'm running, and I find it behind the blinds, and it's still alive. And so I go to get it, and it's like, no, don't hurt me. And I go, no, your whole family, even your ancestors are outside. They told me to come get you, and I'm going to help you. And it was like, water, I need water. And I was like, yes. So anyway, long story short, I gave it some water, put it in my hand. I'm crying the whole time, and I'm like, I'm coming. And I go, don't come in the house when I open the slider. So I open the slider so I can just get my hand through, and they come around and around my hand, and then the one takes off, and they all take off with it. And they're like, and I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. And so there they go. But my point is, why did they find me? Because of my outer world? No, because of my inner world is connected to their inner world. And they could see that I was available to hear them. So when you start connecting to your inner world, animals might react to you differently, plants, insects, or whatever might ask for help, but that's because you're now a part of all that is, as you already are. You already are. But now other things are experiencing that you know that you're a part of all that is. And life becomes much better when you feel like you can have an impact in that way. Start with yourself. I do my own work on myself every single day. I do not skip it. And then you can be that for others, whether they're animal life, whether they're insect or what have you. But you have a knowing, and you have infinite intelligence and consciousness within yourselves and within all parts of you. Use it and give your mind, you already know what your mind's going to say, give it time off and go with the inner dialogue. Yeah.
Cynthia, when you say that you do your own work every day, can you say more about that? What that,
Yeah.
What
Yeah, so I wake up in the morning.
Feels like.
Yeah. So I wake up in the morning. Some of it might seem familiar to other people here. First thing I do, eyes open, gratitude. Gratitude, start at the head, finish at the feet. Gratitude goes all the way around. Then I check on my cells. How are my cells here, 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 here? I do a calibration if I need to. Do you need to know how to do a calibration? No, I go within and I say to the cells, you need to calibrate. I tell people all over the world, if you don't know how to calibrate and you tell it to calibrate, it hasn't calibrated, start shimming, start moving that body. The cells will start calibrating themselves. They'll start moving.
What does calibrating mean?
Rebalancing.
Rebalancing.
Yeah, rebalancing. So I do that, and then my dogs are right here. So I'm like, I love you guys. Feed us. Do stuff for us. I love you guys. So then I get up, and I make sure that my feet are planted on the ground and also connecting to Mother Earth. And again, gratitude, love, light. I am worthy of this day. I know who I am, that I am, and I am in gratitude for that all the way through. And I do that stuff throughout the day. Now, let's say I'm walking and I get a cramp or something. If I can, we can't always do that, unfortunately. I'll stop and I'll go, what's happening here? Where is this from now? Is this an injury from long ago, etc.? Try it, because if you go, is this from now, and you get a vision of like 2 weeks ago, they're showing you, no, this happened 2 weeks ago, you didn't even notice. Trust what you're receiving, trust what you're getting. And then always replace it with love, higher love, pure love, divine love, because that's a clear energy. Most likely, if there's any kind of contraction in the body, you want to replace it with love and get rid of fear. Because most likely, there's an offshoot of that. So I do that work. I do a prayer. I do an intention. I do that work after I take care of the dogs and their stuff. And I take care of the birds and the hummingbird and water the plants and all that, the stuff that fuels me, I will go and meditate. And first I start with myself, and then I send energy out to the world. And then my phone starts ringing nonstop. So, yeah, it's a process. And then at night I start it all over again. Yeah. Make it your own, yes.
You were talking earlier about authenticity or authentic. Can you say anything? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So authenticity is one of the highest vibrational frequencies in its pure ability to impact not only yourself first, humanity, and the world. I think that it's about telling yourself the truth. It's about telling others the truth. It's about deciding whether others are even available to hear the truth, if your truth is their truth. But whatever you're saying, that it is authentic to you, that it is authentic, that it is part of your truth. We've gotten into many people just say what they think other people want to hear, or they say things to be nice, or they say things, or they withhold, and that has to do with each individual. But the energy and the frequency of authenticity, it was the only energy in that computer model that just exploded the screen with light. So authentic meaning real. Authentic meaning able to create change and transform. So if you're authentic with yourself, like, oh, I could have done that better, don't beat yourself up. Please take the voice that beats you up and love it so much, because the voice that beats you up probably is not your voice, but number two is the voice that needs love the most. So offer it love until it's transmuted, until it's cleared, and it becomes your voice of love and compassion and kindness. But authenticity is, I believe, not only truth, but it's the strength to choose that truth, to tell yourself the truth first, and then offer it to others.
So I guess just a little bit of tweaking in my understanding. So when you're talking about that, because there's authenticity, which is just that pure spiritual essence, but then you're also talking about our authenticity in terms of something on this plane that we're trying
So
to
we
explain.
exist everywhere.
Yeah.
There's no place we don't exist. There's really only one soul in this entire room. So what I'm saying is the authenticity of energy is pure and it's real. And then being an authentic person, even with yourself and your own thoughts, creates a purity and a truth that quickens you, and you're able to not only represent that, but manifest much faster. Mm-hmm.
When I hear you speak of authenticity, my own experience is that it's when I'm actually coming from my heart of hearts.
Yes.
And when I speak it, instead of just
Mhm.
think it,
Mhm.
when I speak it, it's even more powerful.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to offer that.
I love that. Thank you. She said authenticity to her is when she speaks from the heart, her heart of hearts. Some people's hearts are broken. Some people have trauma in their hearts. Some people don't feel comfortable trusting their hearts.
Sometimes I have to find my way in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we know when we're there
Yes.
because of the purity of it.
Yes. Yes, I agree. We do know when we're there.
And the purity can be fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be love.
Yes. She said the purity can be fire and it can be love. So yeah, well, I'm not talking about, I'm so kind, I'm so this. Sometimes you can feel passionate and have fire about something and be authentic, I think you were saying.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even in confrontations,
Mm-hmm.
it can have a very healing effect when two people are authentically coming together
Yes.
and creating that fire.
Yes, I agree. Authentically coming together in a place of fire, and healing each other and individually healing because they're being authentic. You know, not being afraid to be authentic. I love that. Thank you so much. So coming from the heart and also the fire and just being authentic with yourself. We always put ourselves last. Please start with yourself because that's how you're going to change the world.
My mom and I had a teacher in India, and he always talked about inner authenticity, and that was way more important to him than outer authenticity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree because that's where healing happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes outer healing is temporary, where inner authenticity healing is long-term. Is long-term. And if somebody received a healing and they call me and they go, I don't feel it anymore, I say to them, get authentic with yourself. Do you allow it to continue? Do you love yourself? Have you moved out of clarity that your worth matters, etc.? And then they're like, oh, I feel it again in my heart. It's moving. So yeah, the heart, I would say the heart center is huge in that ability. So thank you all so much for coming. And